Okay, welcome to another Miracle Monday, where Mom and I have these conversations that we have all the time, but we're wanting to share them with all of you in the hopes that it inspires in some way. And we started to have it beforehand, and I interrupted you to say, "Hey, stop! Let's just hit record and have the conversation." So, what's on your mind, my sweet mama?
Well, just that this weekend, well, I've been obviously in a contemplative state for a long time. So I'm always thinking and noticing things and I just really notice, and it seems weird, but that in spite of all this stuff going on in my life, health stuff, I feel content. And it feels strange and also like because I traveled so much and I did so much and people think they're always saying, well, you could travel, you could still travel, you could do this, you could do that. And it's like I don't need to. I really feel that I've done all my life what I wanted to do. And I don't feel that, hopefully, it wasn't selfishly. Um, really, I do hope, as I'm saying it to my daughter.
I think based on our relationship, you could deduce that you have not been selfish.
Okay, good. But, when I look back, oh my gosh, I have had so many incredible experiences. I've visited so many countries and just had an amazing time. I mean, I've been to Egypt twice and I've been to Hawaii who knows how many times. And we lived in Hawaii together. And those were spontaneous, just, okay, that sounds good. My friend needs somebody to look after her business. Let's go. Those kinds of things. And again, I always said I was still responsible with everything, but I didn't start doing all of that until you and Brad were on your own, and
Yeah,
not quite on your own, but on your own.
yeah.
And so I've always felt I've been responsible, but I've made different choices than other people. And Uwe and I, again, we just celebrated, as you know, our 31st wedding anniversary. And, just the two of us thinking about how grateful we are with the things we've done. I mean, we still have our own home, we live in a beautiful place, but we have travel has been our big thing that we've done and experienced many, many things. And, so many people wait and they think, when I retire, when I do this, when I do that, then I'll enjoy this stuff. And it's like, we just did it, but we always took care of business, took care of everything that needed to be taken care of. And at the same time, we're able to just satisfy those desires to go and do this or do that. We don't, as you know, we don't have a lot of, well, we have a lot of stuff, but
Yeah, I've
it's,
seen your closets.
yeah, and the garage. But in terms of our
I know
home,
what you mean. Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah, you're
our
not
furniture,
flashy buying all material,
no,
yeah,
our stuff is old. And, so I just was thinking about that regret that we don't know how long we're going to be here. We don't know what our life is going to throw at us. Imagine if I had said, I'm going to wait to travel until Uwe
Uber
retires,
retires. Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
it's like, I wouldn't have seen all those places. And now I can't travel. So, yes, I could, but what's the point? I can't do anything I want to do when I
yeah,
travel.
yeah,
I mean, Europe, it's all hill towns that we, hike up and down, and, the tropics where you're swimming. And I can't do any of those things. And so, what if I had waited?
yeah,
And I just think if people could really follow their heart and soul, and again, still be responsible and take care of what needs to be taken care of, but to truly follow their heart and soul. I just, yeah, it's on my mind a lot because people are always wanting to suggest to me, well, you could still travel and you
yeah,
could do
yeah,
this or
yeah,
you could go, and it's like, I don't need to.
yeah.
If
You
I,
look forward to, sorry, I just have to, there we go. I have to keep checking on Alaska to make sure she's
yeah,
good. But it's not that you don't look forward to the possibility of that happening again in the future, but but you certainly have lived a really beautiful life and followed your heart all the way along, doing all the things that you wanted to do when you wanted to do them.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
don't yearn. And it is fascinating how everybody wants, not everybody, but
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
people who are kind and caring, think, well, you could still do this or you could. I don't need to.
Yeah.
If my health gets to a place where if I went somewhere, I could do anything I wanted when I was there,
That's right.
that's a different story.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I'm not interested in going just to go someplace. Why would I?
Going where you can't wander the streets because they're hilly, and going where people are playing in the water but you can't go in, and staying
Yeah,
at an Airbnb with a hot tub but you can't go in there, and yeah.
exactly. Even
Yeah.
cruises.
Yeah.
I mean, what's all we do is go to spas on a cruise. We don't gamble. We aren't into the casinos. The food I could care less about. And so all of the
Uva
different
loves the food though.
I know he does love the food, but too bad he's with me. But I just really would love it if people could find something in their heart to know that it's okay to live life now because all we have is today.
Yeah.
And who would have known 2 years ago this would be me, that
Yeah.
I couldn't just pick up the phone and phone my friend? I mean, I want to go see my friend in Greece and Macedonia and, and so what I can't, the big
Yeah.
deal. Like I'm not yearning for it. But if my health was good, well, of course I would be
Yeah.
flitting here and flitting there and doing this and doing that. But yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, that's really all that has been on
Was
my
on your mind.
mind.
I mean, I think that one of the things you and I have always talked about, and I mean, you kind of mentioned this prior to the call, which is when I interrupted you and stopped you to come on here, but like we have a company that we still can't let go of, even though we don't operate it, called Life Without Regrets, for
Yeah.
exactly that reason. Like
Yes.
we both really believe, like, or do our very best to live our life so that when we get to, for, I don't know if this is the same for you actually, but for me, I literally imagine the end and looking back at the choices that I've made and really wanting to get to the end and hope that I don't have any regrets. Like I want to live my life now so that when that moment happens, no matter when it is, that I won't have regrets, that I will have lived my life the way I wanted to with the people that I love and memories and impact and like just all of the things. And
Mhm.
so what you're saying is that you're living that. You're living that. You're able to look back and feel really good about the choices that you made and up until this moment.
Yeah. And, again, just continuing. I mean, this weekend, we went for a walk along the beach. We went for dinner at a elegant, restaurant.
Very
Yeah.
Lynn
And I
restaurant.
can't taste the food, but I loved the atmosphere. So it was all worth it. It was just
Yeah.
a special, special night. And yeah, if people could just, and it's not easy because I think we're also influenced by being told, be responsible, make sure you have a savings account, make sure you are set up for the future, like I'm sorry, I'm not even good at knowing what you're told to do because I never
Because
really
I've never
done
listened.
it. But in spite of it all,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a home that we own. I have like an amazing family. I have amazing memories. I have,
Yeah.
in spite of it all. But I couldn't share with all my life, pretty much. I mean, adult life, let's say that. I couldn't share with many people, including my family, the things that I chose to do because they weren't what everyone else would choose to do. Like
So
things like,
yeah, go.
no,
Tell me
go,
about it. Like what things?
well, just different things like, taking you guys to a guest ranch and, like things I did with you and Brad. But I always think of the guest ranch because it cost me, quite a bit of money. But who cares? I told you, we didn't go to McDonald's. We made it
I
free.
remember for whatever reason, like I can remember being in the back seat of the car and us driving, and as a family, the three of us making a decision not to go. get fast food because we wanted to save for a holiday. I don't know. It's like I just have this moment in my mind where we made a conscious choice, probably multiple times, but that time it was like we were talking about it while driving and chose not to do it because we were saving.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because that's the truth. And I just made different choices because I really loved being with you and Brad. Doing different things, sharing things together. And again, the strange thing is I always like put a little bit of money aside. I had little savings accounts everywhere, just, but I didn't do the traditional
Yeah.
things. I can remember being so excited when I got my first mortgage. Like, how crazy. You have all this debt, and I was so excited it was in my name. I got to have a mortgage. But yeah,
But
it's
those are the responsible things. But you also did, like you say, like you really played an experienced life. You went, and you've had like, talk about Miracle Monday and how life works and all of those things. Like, you had your friend Carrie that you met in an expo lineup and invited her into our home. And she
yeah.
happened to be a flight attendant who gave you buddy passes all the time to go fly everywhere and visit at a time where you still did have like your 9 to 5 job you know, um, and I guess, well, you weren't really a single mom at that time, but we still lived in on Kent. So like, anyways, it just you've
Yeah.
had these different things where and friends living all over that you can go and stay with, and like your life has, I mean, you've created it, but your life has really cooperated with you in that regard, and you have followed your heart and done the things to make those things happen. Not everybody invites a stranger home for Thanksgiving dinner that they meet in an Expo 86 lineup.
And to stay over.
Yeah.
Like you had to give up your bedroom
Yeah.
for them. I
Yeah.
know you thought I'd lost it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't
Hopefully they're
know.
not axe murderers.
Yeah, exactly. That was your thought.
Yeah.
But, I mean, who knows why I did that? And what, Carrie just started talking to me and we just really liked them. And I felt so bad. They didn't know Vancouver and they were staying in this horrible place down in, on whatever Skid Row is. But like they were staying in a horrible place and I didn't want them to think that was what Vancouver was. Like that's all my logical reasoning.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we're still in touch, and that's how many years ago? Expo 86.
86. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
wow.
know,
Like, that's 40 years ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like you say, from that, I got free airline tickets. I flew a lot down to Texas to be with Carrie, to
Yeah.
Austin, to San Antonio. Like I got to see so many places because, yeah. So yeah, follow your heart and do your best to be around people that support you in you. And you don't have to tell everybody everything. So it wasn't that I stayed away from everyone. I just didn't share what I knew they wouldn't approve of and they wouldn't agree with. But it was important to me to still be that and do that. So, you know,
So that's something you've been really good at your whole life that I'm not as good at. Um, you know, on both sides, like one in the dreaming and the doing things not like the way everybody else does, but you knew you wanted to, and that has had you be able to live a life without regrets, to look back, this weekend and just feel so grateful for all that you and Uva have done and all that you've done and all of that. And yeah, like imagining what if, you know, like just thankfully and imagine if you hadn't done that and now you can't and like all of that piece of it. So one is like the dreaming piece of it and where you were smart enough to know, not to talk to people about it, to get input about it that wasn't going to support you in doing what you knew you were already going to do anyways. You also have done that with your health. You've done that, like you're very good at discerning and kind of protecting your I don't know if it's protecting your energy, but like I'm going to use the word protect. I think you're going to correct me, but protecting yourself from any external input that isn't going to support you on the path that you already know you're taking because you follow your heart and you pay attention. You're really good at that.
yeah. And I think the other part is I'm not interested in having conflict. if I
Yeah.
really look at it.
Yeah.
So consequently, I would have to defend myself and, and in a way make someone else wrong if I wanted to be right. And I think those are all underlying pieces of something that I've never really enjoyed doing. And
Yeah.
so, um, you know, uh,
Well, you're also not looking for input. Like you know what you're doing. You're not looking for input. If you were looking for input, then you would, then that would be different. But you have made decisions in your life based on what you know is aligned with you, whether it's travel, whether it's your health, whether it's relationships, like whatever it might be, with your family. Like you have a lot of clarity and I'm sure there's a lot of work that goes behind it to get the clarity, but you have a lot of clarity. You land, you know what you're doing, and you don't need external input to influence you or guide you or help you feel like what you're doing is right because you know what you're doing is right for you always.
yeah, and I don't know, where that comes from or whatever, but you just reminded me of another thing, which I might have mentioned at times on here too. But I remember my friends, my girlfriends, when you guys were little and I was on my own, and my girlfriends who were married would go to clubs and dance and whatever. And they wanted me to go and I didn't want to go. And they honestly said, "Well, you're going to be sorry. You're going to not going to have your kids all your life, and you can't just be with your kids." And what, and it's like, yes, I can.
Actually,
But they were afraid I'd never
yeah,
find anybody.
yeah,
If I focused my attention on you guys and didn't go party with them and do everything, that, I'd be on my own. I'd be sorry because I'd be on my own. Well, yeah, my second marriage is 31 years, and I don't think they were right. But
yeah,
I loved I loved being with you guys. So why would I go and do those things that I didn't even like doing,
yeah,
you know? To opt for something that I loved doing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so there are, I guess, a lot of those different things. And in terms of my family, it's like I knew, so they helped me. They were good at helping when I really needed help, like
Yeah,
really needed it. They were never there for me to just go have a good time,
yeah.
right? And so again, what's the point in me sharing any of those things if that's not something that they can support? I don't need to hear.
But that's where other people make a different choice with that. And that's where then conflict comes and a lot of pain and so on. Because a lot of people, especially with family, would be like, would keep doing it in the hopes that they would get a different response. They don't get a different response. And then they feel so hurt, so, disheartened, so whatever, all of the emotions. So,
Angry and all
yeah,
those things.
yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know how that came about. The only thing I always go back to is my grandparents being loving and kind, and I was lived with them and my mom and dad till I was 6. And those are the formative years. So that's what I've made up.
yeah,
And because I don't know how I have thought this way, I honestly don't,
yeah.
you know?
And so, for people that are listening, I mean, I know you've sprinkled it throughout this whole conversation, but from the perspective of, us wanting people to listen to this and maybe go inside their own selves and, just sort of contemplate or reflect or check in, what would you say?
Well, I mean, the word that comes to me, and you mentioned it a number of times in this conversation, is dreaming. It's
Mm,
like if you just were honest with if you could have anything, what would your life be like? What would it truly and sincerely be like? Never mind, how do you get it? So again, I've never had goals. In all the stuff I've done,
yeah,
I really haven't had goals, and somehow just doing what I really loved, whether it's my work, my business, the same thing. My gosh, I was so fortunate in my business. Like, wow, the opportunities that came to me. So but I never had goals, but I had desires, and there's things that and just kind of innocently dreaming, right? And I think that if somehow people could just step aside a little and just dream, not plan, not have to know how you're going to get it. Because again, it's been proven that the people that have to know how they're going to get something before they even believe they're going to get it, they likely don't. It doesn't happen because
Mhm.
you can't know how something is going to happen.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
just can't.
Yeah.
So if they could step aside, I don't know if it's possible, and that's when, you do have to come to a quiet place or but sincerely, what would you like your life to be like?
Mhm.
It's like you. You just have dreamed of living in a place just like you're living in. Only you thought it was in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And so that you could go downstairs and go to a coffee shop and walk around. But it was a dream. It
Yeah.
wasn't a goal. Like you weren't searching, where could I find this condo and where could it
Well,
was
and actually, logic
it
told me I'd never have that because Jason said he would never live in a condo. So I really, yeah,
was just a dream in your heart.
yeah,
And so I think that's a really beautiful example
yeah,
that you've created it.
yeah,
So I think if people could, and here's what you just made me think of something when you said what you said, is
yeah.
that maybe people actually they have those dreams, but they won't connect to them or listen to them or give them any kind of notice because it's
They
just
think
a dream and what were you
think
going to
they
say?
can't have it. Like
That's
they
right.
think they, yeah. So what's interesting for me with that particular thing is even though I knew I thought I knew I would never like live in a condo like I am, I never let go of the dream because I thought, well, we can rent one for a while just so that I can have that experience. Like I never let go of having that experience, even though, yeah, it's
Well,
interesting.
you
It just
didn't know
never
how
left.
you were going to do it.
I
You
had
just
no
had
idea.
the
I just kind of knew I was
desire.
going to have that experience one day.
Yeah.
Like I really wanted it. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
So I think that's a really beautiful example. And so if people just kind of eavesdropped or checked in with what do they honestly want that they think they can't have? Like
yeah,
what do they want their life to be like? How would they like to live their life? How would they like to be spending their time? What would bring them deep joy? Never mind whether you can have it or can't have it or don't know how you can have it but what if you just dreamt, like just always had a dream or checked into the dream because I believe the dream is there.
yeah.
But
I mean,
logic,
that's one piece of it, but you also followed your heart. Like you did the things. It's like when the trip presented itself, whatever the trip was, you would do it.
yes,
Like right? And even at times, there was a chunk of your life where, like, Uva was uncomfortable with the spending of the money part of it because he was in, whatever, like, that doesn't matter. And you did it anyways. Like,
yes,
you weren't, you didn't disregard, you love Uva deeply. You didn't disregard him, but you still followed your heart, even if he wasn't happy. He usually would get on board with it and end up supporting you, but you didn't let his
no.
whatever stop you. An opportunity presented itself and Lynn Robinson was going. There was no question that you were going,
Yeah.
always,
Yes, that is true.
right?
So again,
And a lot of people say no. Like a lot of people are presented with opportunities and say no because of logic. My husband won't, wouldn't support me. He doesn't feel comfortable with that. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough this. I don't have enough that. And you maybe didn't have enough of any of that.
I don't know how I did
And
it.
you went anyways.
Yeah,
You just said yes to things.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how we did it when I look back financially. I have
Yeah.
no idea. When I started my business, I had no business plan. I had no money. I thought I had a savings, some kind of plan through work, and it was a guaranteed plan. And it was the first company that went out of, I don't know if you call it out of business, but closed. One of the companies that held, like, I've had a savings plan with Yellow
Okay.
Pages, that kind
I've
of thing.
I've
Well,
never had a real job.
oh. Anyways, it was, they had savings plans and one was guaranteed and one wasn't. So I picked the guaranteed. And guess what? The only people that didn't get their money back
For the
was
guaranteed
the
people.
guaranteed people.
Well,
And
that showed you not to bother doing that stuff.
well, honestly, and that was when I started my company. So I thought I was going to start my company with that. Well, I started it with like nothing,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And then again, miracles, going to England when I went and took the color therapy course. I just took it because somebody said, I think you'd like that. And so I was on my way to Switzerland for another course. So I thought, okay, sure, I'll stop in England and just do that. And then they asked me to be the distributor and to be a trainer and all those things, it's like crazy. And then when I got home, it ended up, that's how my business really started. It wasn't with the NLP, that was there. And I did that too. But what started it is that the color therapy, the person couldn't come that was supposed to come to Vancouver. And so they knew I was doing it, and some magazine did a two-page spread for me, and voila, I have a business. You
yeah.
know?
All of it comes from following your heart. I mean, I think that's a big thing for you. It's like we all get sort of, I'm going to say downloads or like opportunities or things presented and often go, yeah, no, can't do that. Not the right timing, not the right this, not the right that. And you just were like, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Right? And it allows you to get to this place where you are, yes, you're limited right now. And like in what you can do, but how beautiful is it that you can look and go, I've done everything. Like there really probably hasn't been anything that you were presented an opportunity and you're like, I wish I had said yes.
not that I can think of, like,
Yeah.
I really don't feel
Well, because
that.
I don't think you said no to anything.
No.
Like
And
really.
I sincerely, like, I look at myself and I think, kind of weird that I can feel so content when my life used to
Yeah.
be what it was,
Yeah.
and yet I sincerely don't yearn for something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's beautiful. This is why I want to have these conversations because I think we can all learn from you. And I do think it's also, I know we have to wrap up just being mindful of the time, but I do think that is a choice that you make every day as well.
Mhm.
So you want to feel happy, you want to feel at peace, you want to feel in gratitude, you want to get through this time without feeling like you've lost this time because this is the only time you know you have. And so make it as good as you can make it. So go for the fancy dinners, even though you can't taste the food, and go for, the walk, even though maybe it's slower and shorter. Go like do Miracle Mondays with me, even on the days where maybe beforehand, not today, by the way, but other days where we're like, do we really even do this? Both of us are feeling like we're in a funk or whatever it might be, doing it
Yeah.
anyways. Like, yes, your whole life you've said yes to things, followed your heart, been really smart about who you talk to about what to really like support you in being able to do the things that you want to do. And you also make a choice almost every single day, if not every single day, to figure out today what can you do to feel grateful, to feel happy, to feel at peace right here, right now in the life that you're living.
And I think that's true. And really, before I get out of bed, I do, like I
Hmm.
always say, I am love, I am joy, I am excitement, I am gratitude. And I go into what the love means and, those words. But then I ask, how can I be those in the world today? And and I ask for what the gift is of today.
Have you ever considered for your daughter and maybe the rest of the world
Mhm.
recording that for us so we could listen to that in the mornings?
Very short.
So,
Hmm. Oh, oh, well, you can talk to me offline. And
because I'd really love that, especially at times where I'm not feeling as resourceful to come up with those amazing things. I would love to listen to my mummy, you know, guiding me through that as
and
a
I just
morning practice.
I stick to those four things. And when they came up, the first time I thought of them was just before we went to Mexico, spur of the moment for New
Hmm.
Year's Eve. For
Yeah.
some reason, I woke up that morning and just came up with those words. I am love, I am joy, I'm excitement, I am gratitude, and just really connected to them and came out to the kitchen and still remember Ruva was sitting there on his computer and I said, what do you think about going to Mexico? So off we went to Mexico, but it was from that
Yeah. Yeah.
happy place, that joyful place.
Well, I think it would serve your daughter and the world for you to just record that somewhere for us to listen to.
Huh. Okay, I'll have to think about that. You know that I am so not into.
I know that you are amazing, and I know that if you decided you wanted to do that for me,
Yeah,
no pressure, it
yeah.
would just come to you and you would just say it and it would be easy.
Okay. All
And you
right.
just hit voice recording or voice memo on your iPhone and just talk.
Okay. All right. Well, you can encourage me again.
Okay. Okay.
We'll see.
Well, thank you for this. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Talk to you next week. Well, talk to you a million times, but see you here next week. Okay. I
Okay,
love
love
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.